Hi, I'm Shona. Welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a class that is really designed for when you're on your period and you don't have a lot of energy. That's not to say that it's only for people who get their period. Anyone can do this class. It's gentle, it's restorative, so if you feel like you need a rest, hopefully this is the class for you. We're using a couple of props. At one point we're using a yoga belt, but you can see it's basically just a strip of material. So anything that is like this should work, any kind of belt. So a belt to a bathrobe is a really good alternative. We're also using a blanket. Can be any kind of blanket, even a towel is fine. And we're using a bolster. Again, more or less this shape, but it doesn't have to be a yoga bolster, it can be a pillow. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the class. Hi, we're going to start the class today in Supta Swastikasana. So you can lay your bolster on the mat, fold a blanket, and have the blanket just on the back of the bolster. Come to sit in front of your bolster or your pillow in cross-legged position. So with the feet as much as you can under the knees. And then you can lower yourself back onto your bolster and just have the blanket so that it's touching the shoulders. And you can release the arms down to the sides. If you have your hair tied up and it's uncomfortable, you can untie your hair. If you're happy to have your eyes closed, you can let the eyes close. Just take a few moments here to connect with your breath. Feel the inhale and the exhale. You should be able to feel the ribs expanding on the inhale. Just let the knees release down. And then without disturbing the pose too much, uncross the legs. Bring the feet onto the floor. And then do the opposite crossing of the legs. This will be the leg in front that is your least favorite. So the body always has one crisscross that it goes for naturally. Do the opposite one now. Letting there be space in the abdomen, in the lower abdomen. No tension in the throat. And again, you can uncross the legs and bring the soles of the feet to the floor. From here, you can roll off your bolster. Open your eyes for doing this. And help yourself up to a seated position. We're going to move the blanket out of the way for now. We'll come back to it and just move the bolster a little bit away from you. In your seated position, you can bring the right hand to the floor beside you, just walk it a little bit away, and then lift the left arm up and reach over towards the right side. Feeling length in the left side. You can look up at your hand, but if that's challenging for the neck, you can look down at your right hand instead. Let's swap the sides, so bringing the left hand to the side, reaching it away, lifting the right arm up and over. Picking your option if you look up at the hand, up at the arm, or down at your right hand. We'll do it one more time. Bringing the right hand to the floor, stretch it along the floor and lift the left arm up and over. It's like you're reaching the fingertips over to the wall. Well, I have a wall. The fingertips are reaching over your head. And then last time, stretching the left hand away from you, reaching the right arm up and over, feeling that stretch on the right side of your body. And then you can come up, then turn to face your bolster, come to hands and knees position, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And as you inhale, you can drop the belly, you can arch the spine, look forward. As you exhale, around the back, bring the chin in towards the chest. Do this a few times on your own breath, with your own pace of breath. So maybe your inhale and exhale is a little slower than mine. Maybe not. On an inhale, arch the back, look forward. And then as you exhale, also rounding the back. One more time, arching. And then as you exhale, round the back. When you're in the rounded spine position, bring the toes together behind you. And sink back towards your heels, bringing the hips down towards the heels. And then you can pull your bolster towards you, creating a little bit of space. And then you can rest your chest and your head onto your bolster. Maybe it's easier, more comfy to turn your head to one side. You can let the arms release. Come back to your slow and gentle breath. Let the sitting bones, let the hips, let them be heavy. See if you can let your belly release. And then turning your head to the other side, just so you have an equal experience for the neck. Feel free to close your eyes if you like. You can turn yourself forward, stretch the arms forward, look forward, and gently bring yourself up. Let's try a downward facing dog. Just move a few times, really gently bending one knee, bending the other knee to warm up the backs of the legs. So bending one knee, bending the other knee, really gently feeling the back of the legs warming up. And then see if your forehead can just rest on the bolster. Then lengthening both legs at the same time. Taking a more supported downward dog with the head. It's kind of that forehead area that's resting on the bolster. Remember, you can release the knees down to the floor one more time. Come back to child's pose. Again, head on the bolster. Let the side of the head rest on the bolster this time. Again, just so you have space for the nose so you can breathe. One more time, stretching the arms forward. Lift yourself up to downward facing dog. Letting the forehead rest on the bolster. If your forehead doesn't reach the bolster, but you would like that feeling of it resting, take a little bit of extra height. You can add an extra pillow. I have a blanket close by, so I'll use a blanket. And just give yourself some extra height. Press the hands into the floor, press the feet into the floor, lift the hips. And then from here you can walk the hands back towards the feet, bend the knees, gently bring the feet towards the hands, maybe push the bolster away. Hold the elbows and you can come to a Uttanasana. You can keep the knees bent if you like. Maybe it's nice to sway a little bit from side to side. Bring the hands to the floor and then come again down to the floor. From the seated position, let's do a small, gentle twist. So going first to the right side, bringing one hand behind you, one hand on the leg. Super gentle in the twist. And then over to the left side, one hand behind you, one hand on the leg. Turning to the front, and then we're going to lie down. So come to lie on the floor and make sure your bolster is fairly close by, and a belt possibly as well. So lying on the floor, start with the feet both on the floor. Just let your shoulders release down. Let your back settle. And then keeping the left knee bent, you can pull the right knee into your chest and then just gently open the right leg out to the side. Pull the right knee back in and then open again out to the side. Let's do a few more times, pulling the knee back in and then open out to the side. And then you can bring the right knee in again. Stretch the left leg along the floor and then bring the bolster beside your right hip, really into your right hip. You can open up the belt, bring it around the sole of your foot, stretch the foot up into the belt, and then holding onto the belt with your right hand, let the foot and leg reach out to the right side, but they are supported by the bolster. So your thigh is resting on the bolster. The leg is still active. You know, the foot is engaged. The thigh is pulling the kneecap up. But your leg can rest. You don't have to, your core doesn't have to work to keep the leg lifted. You can stretch your left hand out to the side. And again, come back to your breath. Bending your right knee, you can pull the leg back in, take off the belt and bring the right foot to the floor. Just bring the bolster to the other side of your body. Not close in yet, but just close enough that you can reach it easily. Bend the left knee, find yourself on the floor first. And you can, keeping the right knee bent, keeping the right leg bent, right foot on the floor, pull the left knee in. And just start by opening the left leg out to the side. Bring the left leg to the center. Open it out to the side with the knee bent. Just getting the hip used to that action. One more time. Opening out to the side. Bringing the knee back in. And then bring the bolster closer to your body. Really snug into that hip. Bring the belt around the foot. Stretch the foot into the belt. And then holding onto the belt with your left hand, reach the leg out to the side. And then you can stretch the right leg along the floor. You can even stretch the right arm along the floor. And the same here, the leg is active, but the abdomen should be quiet, soft, doesn't have to work to keep the leg lifted. The pillow is doing that for you. You're really stretching the heel away from you, feeling the back of the leg opening, the back of the knee opening. And then bending the knee, pull the leg back in, undo the belt, move the belt to the side, and roll over to your right side to come up. Come to a seated position, and have the feet, you're in Dandasana, but have the feet hips width distance apart, maybe even a bit wider. Press the hands into the floor, and then bringing the bolster on top of the legs. If you feel like you might need a little bit of extra height, you can also bring the blanket on top, lift the arms up, and then reach the hands forward. Maybe you can hold onto the feet. If you don't reach the feet, you can hold onto the legs, or maybe even the mat. And then from here, lengthen the chest forward, and then you can release the head down. Release the forehead onto your support. Just making sure that it is your forehead that's resting on the support, just so that your nose still has space and you can still breathe. Using your breath. So on the inhale, maybe you can
extend the chest further forward on the exhale. Release maybe a bit more down. Feeling the legs lengthening along the floor, reaching the heels away from your sitting bones. And gently you can release whatever you're holding on to. If you're holding on to the feet, or the legs, or the mat, and lift yourself up so you're in upright position. Then bring the right knee out to the side, bring the foot in towards the left thigh. And then maybe you need to adjust your support. Be a little unbalanced now because it's just one leg. You go to Janu Shirshasana. So lifting the arms here again, and then reaching them forward, holding onto the foot or the leg or even the mat. And then the same thing here, letting the forehead release onto your support. And breathing. Feel the side ribs expanding on your inhale. Let the right knee release down to the floor. Inhale, looking forward, letting go of the foot or of the mat, lifting yourself up. Stretch the right leg again along the floor. Let's do the other side, swapping the bolster. Bringing the left foot, to the inside of the right thigh, just so you can see this on the other side. Let the left knee release down. Lift your arms up first, reach up, and then come forward and down. You have to adjust your support for the head. See how far away that needs to be. Might be different on each side. Keep that action of the right leg lengthening along the floor, the heel reaching away. And in the left leg, the knee is releasing down towards the floor. Letting your forehead just rest on the support, let it be heavy. And then gently lifting up one more time. And then move the props off your leg. And we're going to come to lie on the floor one more time. Bring the bolster in more or less a similar position as we had at the start of the class. Bring the blanket to where for your head to rest on. And then you can come to sit in front of your bolster. Bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. And again, lower yourself down onto the bolster. Make sure that the blanket is coming down towards the shoulders, your head is supported. If it's uncomfortable for you,
to have your hair tied up. You can undo your hair. Just let your hands release down to the side. Palms can face the ceiling. The soles of the feet touching each other, and the knees just releasing down. Not needing to force anything, you don't need to press the knees down, just let them softly release. The eyes can be closed here if you like, if that's nice for you. Taking long and slow inhales and exhales. Letting your lower abdomen be quiet. Let your lower abdomen release. If there's any tension in that area, breathe towards it. Then you can bring your hands underneath or to the side of your thighs. That will help your knees back together. Roll off the bolster one more time. Just before we go to Shavasana, we'll do one final pose. If you have a blanket, flatten it out on your mat. Again, using the bolster in the long way, or the pillow, whatever you're using it in the long way. And then sit on top of your bolster. Lie yourself down and slide along the bolster until your shoulders land on the mat, land on the blanket, and then stretch the legs out in front of you. You can let the arms release by your sides. And just feel the lift of the chest. Also here, if you like, you can try bending the knees and bringing the legs into a cross-legged position. If there's space on your bolster, this can feel really nice. There might not be space on the pillow you're using, so just experiment and see. If your legs are crossed, also do the opposite crisscross of the legs.
Really letting the shoulders be heavy here. Rolling them back and down, feeling the openness of the chest. And then you can uncross the legs, roll yourself over to the right, move the bolster out of the way just a little bit. Come and lie yourself on the floor for Shavasana. So just let the legs release, let the feet flop out to the side, let the arms release by your sides. If you're comfortable to let the eyes close, let the eyes gently close. And come back to your deep and gentle breath. Let your face soften, let the jaw release, let all the muscles release. And then when you're ready, one by one, you can bend the knees, bring the feet flat on the floor. Bring the hands to your abdomen. Breathe more deeply. Really see if you can breathe towards your hands. And then you can roll to your right side and come up. Press yourself up to a seated position, just here at the end. Bring the palms together in front of the chest. Thank you for your practice.